brings you to Space Tech Expo?
Basically, it's to give the opportunity to articulate our view of the future from a technology point of view, to get across some ideas of how we see spacecraft being developed, how they're going to be built in the future, where SES is going. We thought that was very important to have that opportunity to talk to industry about today.
Okay. And you were obviously speaking in one of the sessions this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were talking about?
Yeah, predominantly this was showing how we see the industry going forward and how we see our role in the industry changing and how we think our technology is going to move. Up until this point in time, we've been building larger and larger spacecraft, up to 5.5, 6 tons, extremely complex, large spacecraft. We think this is probably the end of the line for the analog, partially processed payloads, and we think we're going to be moving forward to a fully digital payload, launching smaller spacecraft, maybe in the 2 to 3 ton part, having them cooled up on 18 months and having them totally identical and reconfigurable on orbit. We think that's going to be the future for our part of the business.
Okay. How do satellite operators see the future of satellites then? Should all satellites become software defined and high throughput?
I think it's not only for high throughput, software definition for sure. Having that capability, having identical spacecraft should be able to drive down the cost of the spacecraft itself. You've got the volume elasticity of the pricing, which you should be able to bring in. Whether you're operating at MEO or whether you're operating at GEO, we think that's going to be the same. So it's not just HTS. HTS is an important point, but being able to reconfigure the spacecraft from wide beam into narrow beam, HTS type of services on a time slot by time slot basis, we think is going to be critical for the future.
Okay. What changes have you seen in the space tech industry in the last few years?
I think over the last few years, predominantly the biggest change is being moved away from analog, purely analog, into a hybrid analog-digital environment in the payloads, and now moving forward straight into a fully digitized payload. That's been a big step forward. A lot of other partial technologies are changing as well. For example, propulsion systems are improving. For example, solid-state amplifiers are now coming on stream, are becoming available much more than they were in the future. So in the past, sorry. And I think this is going to be really the future of the development.
Okay. And are there any other trends and technologies you think we're going to see more of in the few years?
Yeah, for me, one of the major developments is going to be on the ground. Actually, it's going to be the ground-based user antennas. The development moving away from moving away from mechanical steered antennas into electrically steerable antennas is going to be critical. We're working on that very hard, both with suppliers today and with academia, but that's going to become more and more important to basically have a solid-state antenna that requires absolutely zero maintenance on the ground, especially for the mobility world. It's going to be extremely important.
Great. Why is this event so important for you to have attended?
It's predominantly obviously a European event. We're a European company. We want to be here. We want to meet with our suppliers or potential suppliers. We want to meet with our competitors, talk to our friends, and just sort of get a good view for what's happening in the industry outside of the circle of Betzdorf.